South Africa's magistrates' courts are coming under fire for failing child victims with repeated delays and dysfunctions in cases of sexual assault and abuse. Advocacy group Women and Men Against Child Abuse are calling for urgent reforms, and calls for a more victim-centric justice system are growing louder as families continue to suffer. Channel Africa reporter Lebohang Mabange filed this report.
In
South Africa, the wheels of justice seem to turn slowly, especially for the most vulnerable, our children. The harrowing delays and systemic dysfunctions within the magistrate courts are failing child victims, leaving them trapped in cycles of trauma. Imagine being a child reliving your worst nightmare over and over, not just in your dreams, but in a courtroom where justice seems out of reach. This is the reality for children like Thabo and Tobile. These are not their real names to protect their identity. Their cases have been dragged through the courts for years.
This continuous delay has deeply affected both. He has become more anxious, and it is hard for both of them to understand why this keeping happening. He's older, but he's trying to be strong. He's also struggling at school. He's struggling emotionally. He's not coping. He was a student at school. Now he's dropping.
A family under siege since March 2021, Thabo and his older brother have been battling for justice against a neighbor and school transport driver who assaulted and raped Thabo when he was 5 and continues to harass the family.
This thing, the problem, because we see this guy every time. Every time when we're going somewhere, maybe we are going to church, we saw him because we stay next to each other. We stay at 17th Street. He stay at 19th Street. Most of the time, because at the street, they're selling alcohol. So we see him there most of the time. I just need only justice for my son. Only justice for my son.
As if the harassment from the perpetrator weren't enough, after countless postponements and a change in prosecution due to concerns about indifference and hostility, their case has been delayed once again, this time until October, because the prosecutor is on leave. 6 years after her assault, Tobile, now 14 years of age, remains caught in a cycle of pain as the sexual assault case against a SAPS forensic officer has been postponed over 20 times. She was just 8 years old when the incident occurred. Her mother shares how these repeated delays have deeply affected Tobile, compounding her emotional wounds and making it difficult for her to heal.
This has impacted her in a bad way, big time, mentally and emotionally, because there was a time that she was really emotional. She was telling me that when she sees other kids laughing, she thinks that they're laughing at her, or she thinks that they're talking about her in a way that she felt that she was not beautiful.
Tobile's mother strongly believes that the justice system in the country is deeply flawed, leading to the countless postponements in her daughter's case. She feels that the system's dysfunction is prolonging her son's trauma and denying them justice they desperately need.
Justice system, it's terrible. Legal processes, I don't think they are doing anything to improve, because if they did, there was never going to be so many times that the case is being postponed because the machine is not working.
These stories are not isolated incidents but a part of broader systemic failure. Women and Men Against Child Abuse's research sheds further light on the public protector's findings that 37 of 38 magistrate courts lack functional case management systems, resulting in unnecessary delays and ongoing trauma for child victims. Luke Lamprecht is from Women and Men Against Child Abuse.
We are deeply concerned about the structural delays within the court systems that are depriving children of their right to justice. So we have had examples of the fact that we've had delays because cameras are not working, doors are locked, the cleaners have the keys, prosecutors aren't present, intermediaries aren't present, legal aid isn't present. And the result is that these children have spent more than half of their life in court. And in one child's case, she has gone from being 7 years old to being 14 while giving evidence in court. For us, the systems that were put in place to protect children's rights, such as intermediaries and separate rooms, etc., have actually become the reason why children cannot access their rights because they are not present in the courts.
The WMACA recognizes that a well-functioning system requires all parts to work efficiently. Therefore, they have reached out to and are calling on the Department of Public Works to take responsibility for the maintenance and upkeep of court facilities which are currently failing to provide a safe environment for handling sensitive cases. Lamprecht explains.
We're actually asking for the state to do what the state has said it will do. So Public Works needs to make sure the facilities are present. There is a room, there is a camera and a screen and earphones and a microphone that is actually working. So that system that allows children to testify via an intermediary so that they're not exposed to the in-court trauma, because Section 170A of the Criminal Procedures Act allows our children to testify via an intermediary. And the reason for that is so that they don't have to sit in court and experience the trauma of sitting face-to-face with the accused.
Preparing for the courtroom experience is not easy, especially for victims of abuse, especially for children. The call for action is clear. South Africa's courts must be reformed to stop the endless delays and dysfunctions that are destroying lives. For Tobile and Tabo and countless other children, the time for justice is now. Reporting for Channel Africa in Johannesburg, South Africa.